Welcome to the Deep Dive Podcast, brought to you by Revival Waves of Glory Ministries. Today, we're diving into something we all go through, but man, it can be tough: personal transition. We'll be exploring some really powerful insights on this from the work of Vincent. You know that feeling, right? It's like you're on this endless curve on the highway. You know you've left where you were, but you definitely haven't arrived at where you're going yet. It's that in-between space that we're going to talk about. So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute heart of it. Have you ever felt like this? Just stuck. You're caught right in the middle, between a past that doesn't fit anymore and a future that's still kind of fuzzy. It's such a common human experience, and it's really the core theme we're going to unpack today. And our guide for this whole discussion is a book called Embracing the Unseen by Vincent. Now, what's cool about this book is that it actually started as a series of powerful sermons all about transition, and they've been refined and put into book form. So we're going to break down some of the key ideas for how to navigate these really crucial moments of change in our lives. All right, so the first big idea the book tackles is, well, it's a tough one to swallow. It's the idea that we are often our own worst enemies when it comes to change. In fact, the original sermon this was based on was literally called Sabotaging Your Own Transition, because as the text points out, it's something we all tend to do, whether we realize it or not. This quote right here, wow, it just perfectly captures the central problem, doesn't it? It explains exactly why we end up sabotaging ourselves. We crave that new destination. We want to move forward, but we are absolutely terrified to leave the familiar comfort of where we are right now. It's like wanting to get to the other side of a river without getting in the boat. It just doesn't work. And when you peel back all the layers, it really boils down to this one simple truth. The single biggest thing holding us back is our own white-knuckle grip on the past. The source really emphasizes that at the beginning. It's not about what's happening out there. It's about our internal refusal to release what's comfortable, even when we know deep down it's time to move on. So that brings us to the next big question. If letting go is the challenge, what is this whole process supposed to feel like? Well, according to the book, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. In fact, that discomfort isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's actually a sign that you're on exactly the right track. And this is just a brilliant way to illustrate that feeling. Think about it. Driving on local roads is second nature, right? You know the turns, the speed limits, the stop signs. But merging onto the interstate? Whoa, everything changes. The speed, the level of focus you need, the awareness, it's a whole different ballgame. You have to shift into gears you weren't even using before. And transition demands that new higher level of operation from us. And honestly, it can be really jarring. Here's another amazing metaphor from the book. Transition isn't some casual drive where you can just pull over whenever you want. Nope, it's a roller coaster. Once that ride starts, you are locked in, for better or worse. The huge takeaway here is that you can't fight it. You literally have to give yourself permission to feel the discomfort, to be a little scared, to be unsure, because that's all part of the ride itself. Okay, so if you're strapped into this roller coaster, how in the world do you navigate it without losing your mind? Well, the source gives us a fantastic framework, a kind of toolkit, in the form of 3 super powerful, clarifying questions you can ask yourself when you're right in the thick of it. The first question is all about your identity. I mean, think about it. You can't be the same person in your new season as you were in your last one. You graduate, you become a spouse, you become a parent. You can't be the same person. This question forces you to stop looking back and start defining the new version of yourself that this next chapter requires. And this question builds directly on the first one. A new identity means new actions. The source makes such a great point here. Some people think they've transitioned just because they moved to a new city. But if they're still doing all the same old things, have they really changed at all? This question is about the practical, real-world changes in your behavior that have to go along with that internal shift. And the third question, which comes from the book's faith-based perspective, is all about your spiritual foundation. It's basically asking what new aspects of God or your spiritual support system you need to rely on now. The whole idea is that a new level in life requires a new dimension of faith and strength that you maybe haven't had to tap into before. It's about finding deeper support for a deeper challenge. And hey, for a deeper exploration of all these concepts, you can find Vincent's work over at revivalwaysofgloryministries.com. So picture this. You've accepted the discomfort, you're asking yourself these deep, clarifying questions, you're actually starting to make real progress. And according to the source, this is the exact moment you should expect pushback. It's almost like clockwork. Just when you start moving forward, opposition shows up to try and pull you right back into those old, familiar patterns. The book gives this a specific name. It calls it spiritual opposition, and the key word to focus on here is intent. This isn't just random bad luck or a string of coincidences. It's described as a targeted force, specifically designed to stop your progress, make you doubt yourself, and tempt you to go back to the slavery of your old life. So what does this resistance actually look like in day-to-day life? Well, it can take a lot of forms. It can be internal, those old habits you thought you kicked suddenly showing up again. It can be emotional, like a sudden overwhelming wave of fear. And it can even be external. The book talks about people from your past randomly popping up, or even running into weird political or legal hurdles that just seem designed to get you off track. All right, so you're on the roller coaster, you're asking the questions, and you're staring down this resistance. So what's the final piece of the puzzle? What's the secret to having a successful transition? Well, the source presents it as a breakthrough moment that's all about surrender. What's so powerful about this idea is how it reframes the entire struggle. That pulling, that discomfort, that feeling of being torn in two directions, it's not pointless. It has a purpose. According to the book, its purpose is to refine you, to burn away the things that don't matter by forcing you to let go of your ego and your desperate need for control. This whole process is called dying to yourself. Now, dying to yourself sounds pretty intense, I know, but the book breaks it down into 3 really practical ideas. First, you release your own self-effort. You just stop trying to map out every single step of the journey. Second, you let go of pride and just admit, hey, I can't do this alone. And third, the biggest one, you surrender control. You stop fighting the current. It's like a dead man's float in a pool. The moment you completely relax and stop struggling, you float. The moment you fight it, you sink. And this is the ultimate payoff. When you finally truly get out of your own way, when you release that need to control, to understand, and to predict everything, you stop the self-sabotage that we talked about at the very beginning. You finally allow the transition to do its work and to carry you exactly where you need to go. As the text puts it, God can finally move for you once you're willing to step aside. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Based on everything we've just covered, what is that one thing, that comfortable routine, that old way of thinking, that familiar habit that you might be clinging to? What is it that you might need to let go of to finally merge onto the inner state of your next chapter? If you want to dive deeper into these ideas, be sure to find more from Bill Vincent at revivalwavesofgloryministries.com. Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast.